Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about transitions and animation in CSS3. So a transition is basically just that. It's transitioning one style to another. So for instance, a color or position or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a div, and let's give it an ID of box1. And actually we don't even need to space it out because we're not putting anything inside of it. And then in the style, let's say box1. We're going to set a width of 100 pixels. Let's set a height of 100 pixels. Background, we'll make it black. Alright, so we have this 100 pixel black box, and what we want to do is we want to transition the width. Okay, so we want the width to just kind of grow at a certain duration to a certain size when we hover over it. All right, so if we go down here and say box1 hover, and let's then make the width into 300 pixels. Okay, if I save that and just hover over it, you can see that it does go to 300 pixels, but there's no transition. Transition would be nice and smooth, kind of like an animation. So what we can do is up here is say transition, and then the style we want, which is width, and then the duration, which I'm going to say 2s, which will be 2 seconds. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that and reload, and now when I hover over it, you can see that it nicely transitions into 300 pixels wide. Okay, so pretty easy to do. Okay, and we can also set a delay if we want. If we say transition delay, and let's say 1 second. So now you'll notice if I hover over it, it stops first. It doesn't do anything for a second, and then it starts. All right, we can also change the timing function. So we can say transition timing function. We'll set it to ease out, and then you can see that it kind of starts off slow, it eases out slow, and then kind of gets faster as it goes. All right, it's not too noticeable in this, but there's other timing functions as well. Let me just take a look here. Okay, so let's see, we did ease out, there's also ease in, and I'm just going to take that delay out and just say, I'll just comment it out. Okay, so that kind of, the difference is you can't really notice the difference too much. Let's do linear. Yeah, very slightly. Okay, that seems to be even the whole way. Alright, so you can experiment around with that. Now, you can do more than one style, so let's say we want to do the height as well. We can just go right here and put a comma, and we'll say height. Set that to 2s as well. And then we need to make sure we actually specify the height down here. So we'll just say 300 pixels. So now if I hover over it, you can see that both the width and the height are going to go to 300 pixels in 2 seconds. We can change the times here. We could say height 4 seconds. So now you can see that that stops, the width stops, and then it keeps going for the height 2 more seconds. Alright, so that's an example of a transition. Now animation is a little bit different. So what we're going to do is create another div here, and we're going to give it an ID of box2. And let's go up here and say box2. And we're going to set a width. We'll do 100 pixels again. And let's say background color, we'll make it red. Alright, and then what we need to do is set an animation name. And we're going to set that to color change. Okay, now this can be called anything you want. I'm just making this up, color change. So the animation name, and then we also want the duration. So animation duration, let's say 5s, 5 seconds. Okay, now if we save that, you can see that nothing happens. What we need to do is set up a keyframe. So we're going to go up in here, CSS, and say at keyframes, and then the name of the animation, which is color change. And we're going to set from background color red to background color blue. So what we want this to do is it's an animation that's going to turn it from red to blue in 5 seconds. So watch when I reload. You can see that it starts at red and then it gradually goes into blue. Okay, so that's a pretty simple example of an animation. Now, we don't have much flexibility here, so what you can do is you can actually specify certain things to happen at certain points in the animation. So I'm going to actually just comment this out. And then down here we're going to say keyframes color change. And we're going to set up some points. So we'll say 0%, 25%, 50%, 75, and 100%. Okay, so now we have different points in our animation where we can do different things. So let's go ahead and grab this background color red, and I'm going to paste this in all of these. Okay, but when it's at 25, we want it to turn to yellow. When it's at 50, we'll turn it to green. When it's at 75, we'll turn it to blue. And when it's at 100, we'll go back to red. Alright, so let's go ahead and save it and reload and pay attention to this box. Okay, so you can see within 5 seconds it goes through all of these colors. Now we're not limited to just changing one thing at each point. We can actually change the position in order to use top, bottom, right, and left. We need to make this relative. So box 2, we're going to say position relative. Okay, and then down here, let's add left. We'll say left 0 pixels and top 0 pixels. Okay, we want it to start at that position. And then at 25%, we want it to be at left 200 pixels, top 0 pixels. So we just want to move it over to the right. And then let's say left 200 pixels and top 200 pixels, because we now want it to move down. And then let's see, here we'll say left, this will be 200 pixels, and top, wait, is that right? No. This will be, yeah, left will be 0, and then top will be 200. Alright, and then finally it'll be left 0 pixels and top 0 pixels. So we're essentially just going around in a circle or a square. Alright, so let's go ahead and reload. It goes over, down, left, and up. Okay, and you can see the color is also changing at those points. So you can do whatever you'd like when it comes to the properties and the styles that you want to change at each point. Okay, and if you want it to go more than once, we could add in up here animation duration, not duration, iteration count, and let's set that to 3. And now if we reload, it should go around 3 times. See, it keeps going. And what we can also do is make it go in reverse. If we say animation direction, set that to reverse. Now we reload and you can see it goes the other way. Okay, so pretty easy stuff. And I'm just gonna comment these two out. Alright. So that's going to be it for animation and transition. In the next video, we're going to look at the new column feature of CSS3.